Hi, welcome to Beatnik Fusion Hour. I'm your ASMR host, Larissa Alice Lay. Made you think. Okay, this is something I've been wanting to do for a little while, actually for a few years, but see, I've had a lot of things. It's basically, this is just a drop in the cum bucket, we'll just say. I mean, literally and figuratively, evidently. So, I have a lot of people on me, chasing after me, cyber stalkers, all this kind of thing. And, I've learned to weed out a lot of it over the years. Essentially with people I follow, and like I've said, I've lost like 3 or 4 YouTube channels in the past because of my content, and it really is because I expose pedophile rings that relate to the music industry and link in with the local police department. It really is what everyone thinks. So today I'm going to talk about the goth scene and how Epstein ties in all the music scene, the entertainment industry. And if you happen to be a goth, okay, all right, I'm not looking to cater to that, whatever that bullshit community is. I'm not looking for a back and forth because I can tell you right now, the back and forth, both sides are compensated. It really is like a dog fight where George Soros is throwing the coin in the middle and making them all run for it like a bunch of fucking hyenas, okay? So, that being said, like I said, I've been exposing this for so long, and they all tie in, whether they know it or not. They're Yuri Bezmenov, useful idiots, as he said. He had said, if you know anything about him, he had said, we're going to be taken over by China. Well, yeah, it's who I think's my drone surveillance up above. Links still in the description. But it's all ran through Israel at the end of the day. Those of us that like are from my Twitter account and all that know that. I am on Twitter, Alice Dark 5, if you want to follow me there. I have a lot of investors on me, and it's as I've said before, if I even so much as catch wind of you, I will block you. So anyway, yeah, there's this whole like YouTube goth community shit. My son just recently did a video about it. It was kind of funny because I mentioned the same thing. But he and I have been talking about it back and forth for 2 or 3 weeks. And so a lot of these YouTubers that I follow, so on my devices, I am what you call the targeted individual. No, basically, I'm in the blockchain. So if you look at my banner above, that is my blockchain link. So if you Google Larissa Alice Lay, it will come up. I have been informed that I am connected to Epstein, and my ovary's been harvested. I believe it's my right ovary at that. Probably during one of many surgeries that I've had relating to a disease and then childbirth and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I guess we could start off with a brief description of my history and how I fit into this little scene. And the goth scene is not your fucking subculture, okay? These little dumbasses that are pushing that, they are communists, they're Marxist communists. Literal domestic terrorism is tied into this, and it ties into the music industry. They're being instructed, informed. George Soros is putting the coin into it, and from my understanding, last I checked a few years ago, the biggest amount of money that's coming in and funding YouTube is through China. Okay. So this is going to give you an idea of where they are. And you're going to have them playing tit for tat. They're all in on it at the same time. Majority of them, it's a game that they're playing. It is a dog fight. It is the gladiator fight from Grecian times, You throw a piece of meat in the middle, it's a cockfight, and they're all going to run for the dollar, the coin. Okay? It's like that. And they could all be funds and butt fucking each other at the end of the day. No, I'm not kidding. I'll touch on that in a second. I'm not even kidding. Like these people are really sick and twisted. But they're just a bunch of perverts and they all tie into pedophile rings. So in terms of these YouTubers that are goth, okay, I don't even know if this really needs to be said. I get okay, so now we'll start off like I said with my past. So with my past, when I was in high school, it was the beginning of high school and in my junior high year. Yes, it was back in the day. I'm an American, right? We still called junior high. They were switching it over to middle school. Whatever, whatever they want to call it. What is it? It's just stupid, but So, I was like always the alternative to girl. I never, ever, ever identified with labels. So if somebody asked me what music I listened to, it was 1990 and I said I was listening to the 80s. It was like that. It was like that. Um, if you were in the scene, I mean, it's because like I'm tied in a way these others aren't. And it really does. The whole entire music industry, it's about programming. So, Anton LaVey is behind my programming and the music industry's programming. All songs, all music. It's as Zeno LaVey even tells you in an interview, it's about spell casting. It's about MK Ultra. They're all playing the same song, all of them. Now, some will be on a better side than others. This is where Epstein comes in. He pays the coin to or he doesn't pay it. It's Israel, but um, it all ties into there. They're being compromised on some level. And so with me in high school, there was a lot of conditioning. I was manufactured. I am a next generation MK Ultra victim. My father was a super soldier from the Vietnam War. And so I'm just next generation. I'm the Project Monarch. And so that's what this music industry is. It's as I've said before, you can reel back to some of my other videos. I'm not going to get too in depth about because it's not a card that anybody should want to throw and toss around like hot shit. It's like my son said, it's not. See, he is more articulate in terms of how he put this together and have a lot of respect for him. Me, I'm an abuse victim, literally like an Epstein victim. I tie into it. So I'm literally being held a hostage in my own home and sex trafficked. I am tied to the Federal Reserve as a child sex trafficking victim. Now, I don't have a direct contact with Epstein. It's not like that. It's more in terms of how the music industry and the masonry and the Mormons and all that, they played into my being manufactured. So you see all these blondes and stuff on a stage. It's the whole Lilith project. It's my project. It's the Project Monarch. Now they'll try to say that they're monarchs. People no, it's more like they're parodying my program. I'm engineered, socially engineered. I am manufactured, trademarked at that, like the blockchain. Okay. So, like I said, I was conditioned into this. They were sending boys in from a neighboring high school that was over the hill from me. And it was in an area called, I'm not going to say it's my childhood area, but we'll say it's affiliated with Riverside, California. And these boys were sent in. They were also engineered into the scene. And this is what I'm trying to relate to you. So if you're a young person and you manage to find your way into this, I would suggest separating yourself as best as possible from what this is because it really is bad. And the Masons and everything else tie into this. It's the Illuminati. The Masons run all the nightclubs and all this kind of stuff. They do. They just do. They run everything. This is all part of this. Now you're going to have a lot of these people are going to speak against what it is I have to say. But honestly, there's no disputing me directly. And anyone that goes and makes a retort video to what this is would just prove my point further. My devices have been hacked, and so they're tipped off in terms of coming after me. I've had YouTubers make videos because essentially we're in this whole system is deliberately following the book of Revelation and it's pummeling through CERN on frequency. And you may say, well, why, if the bad guys, why would they want that if God levels it? Well, they don't think God's going to level it. They believe they've manifested Hades and they've done a very good job at it. And they're keeping us there. And so they've enslaved us all, right? And some of us more than others. And so when you hear these retards that are pushing this narrative that are in this, it just all across the board, but I'm just going to say this Goth scene in particular because it's personal to me. So when you see some of these dorks, these retards that are pushing this narrative, it's literally because the music industry is behind it. They are Jew, they're Israeli, they are all connected to this. They were compensated for this. And they push this narrative that there is racism and to attack whites. It is that way. And I say whites, it's Aryans. It's the Aryan bloodline. And they say, oh, we're bad at Hitler. World War II is a lie. They're just pushing a narrative. And so if you don't believe in that, it's time to click out now. Go do your homework. I suggest maybe going to bid shoot, start there. I'm not here to convince people. Like, you're way BC as far as I'm concerned in terms of education. Because your education is being funded through the Israel, the almighty Israel. That is right. All your universities are being pummeled by the Jew. And so anyway, in terms of it was like 89, 1990 when I got into this. It was manufactured, it was planned all along. And so you're going to notice there's one in particular that I'm going to mention because the others I just don't follow the scene. For one, I'm going to be 50 this year. So I'm literally the goth mother in the scene here. It's a scene, okay? Don't let anybody tell you anything else other than that. When they try to push this narrative that they're funded to push a narrative to say that's not a subculture. That's not even the definition. That the internet, the interweb, because that's what this is about. It's about socially isolating everyone and not having any connection to anyone. And it's about creating this fake network that ties into the metaverse where your brain's connected to it. And it really is this way. It's the zombie apocalypse. And I'm not going to go too in depth about that because it really is. It's like everything, it's spider webs and a rabbit hole everywhere. And so when I say that it's not like, so my genetics were harvested. So these idiots are being informed to speak in code for which I understand. And the majority of these, they don't understand. They don't even realize that their handlers that are speaking with them are literally like, they don't care because it's money and money talks, and they've all been compromised. And I'll inform how this happens. It really is like Epstein stuff. So they're being instructed to say these things. So when they say that it's whites are bad, or you're a fascist and all that, it's because they took the Aryan bloodline. Yes, Aryans is a real thing. That's what we were called before we were called white by the Jew. It's the truth. You don't want to believe it? Again, it's time to click out. Um, you're just part of the investment team that wants to dispute this. You're people that are sent in to throw. I'm not your dogfight. You're barking up the wrong tree. You see that link that I have my banner? It's interplanetary, meaning I'm a file system, and yes, you will be exposed. Um. So anyway, as I was saying, as I ramble on, your scene here, it's a big back and forth, and I have so much insider information in how this operates. I was very involved in it. I used to go to nightclubs, all kinds of stuff. I would go to shows because back in the day they refer to them as shows when the small things would come in. But at the end of the day, it is manufactured. It is manufactured. The whole goth scene was the whole intention of this was to is about frequency and sound. And so it did start with The Cure, Robert Smith. It was all literally designed that way. And so then you had more of the occult that came in on it, and it was over on the West Coast, and that's where I'm Southern California, right? You had Roger Allen Painter, better known as Roz Williams. Now, he was murdered. No one will tell me because his death was very similar to my father's. There was a tarot card left by him. It was the Hangman's was a fool card. That is, when it comes to tarot, don't let these turds fool you. They're part of the occult. This is Israel behind them. They're playing you like a fiddle. This is what they do in the music industry, and because it's all CIA and shit like this. So when somebody dies, a lot of the time they're going to leave a tarot card next to them. And so he supposedly hung himself on a closet door. That is not what happened. I could tell you that right now. They made too much of a ta-da about his background and how he kept saying he was going to kill himself. He was going to kill himself. Oh, yeah, sure. That's the same story across the music industry. Everyone exploited him. Even his own parents had threw him under the bus afterward, I figured, because they were threatened. You can listen to the story yourself, decide for yourself, but it is that I've no doubt my father also had a tarot card reading involved. They predicted his death via the tarot, and they took him out. They predicted in January that he was going to die 3 months later, and in January, that's the wolf moon. All of my father's family had been murdered in January. It's the truth. Roger Allen Painter was murdered. I dare you to challenge me, because you're not. So they staged him out because he plays into this, and it really is about his genetics also. That's why you don't hear any of these turds that claim they're like, oh, I'm gothier than them, I'm the OG. They're like these turds that like don't even play music. They're not going to even speak about him because they don't like him either because he's racist. No, that's not what was happening. He's playing into a project and he didn't want to play in it anymore. That's what I figure, and that's why he wanted to get out of the band because it's called Christian Death, to annihilate the Christians. So his story, his background is very similar to Robert Smith's in terms of Christianity and how they turn against it. But a lot of this too, like who knows what's a narrative and who's not, all right. It's very, although I do believe it just because my father had his own story involving the Catholic Church and he renounced it. He did. Because he wouldn't give my grandfather absolution for putting his best friend in World War II out of his misery when he got on a mine and caught on fire. That's the truth. Because this is what's happening. My grandfather was an altar boy for the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is evil. The Catholic Church is evil. I don't know how many times I got to tell people this. If you don't know this by now, I don't know. I lean toward this. It's just part of the program, right? I'll tell why in a second. But I've said before, but anyway, in terms of this scene, like I said, they staged him out to stand in front of me when I was at a show, and it was very strange. It was in terms of them showing everyone in the club who I am, and simultaneously they were making me aware of him because they were planning on murdering him a few years later. This was in I want to say 94, 95. I was about 6 months pregnant with my son at that point. So I want to say, yeah, it was late 94 because I have my son in 95. So I was there. Like, this is how my life has always been. It's always been staged out. Like I said, they sent in like it's really in depth. I'm not going to go too into it in terms of what this is. It's because how MK Ultra works, the Project Monarch, it's the Monarch butterfly, and it really actually has to do with royal bloodline, the real royal bloodline, royal genetics, and it does roll into the Enigma Grail, Genesis Grail Kings. Has to do with the Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ bloodline. They don't want you to tell you that. That's what this whole scene's about. That's what Christian Death was singing to you. That's what and so then the cure side of it, it's called the cure for a reason. It's because of this computer virus thing that's happening. I'll just leave it at that. And anyway, so then let's go and touch on these people and who they are. And it's like my son said, because she's the big one, and it's really is this way. Her name is Angela Benedict. Just as I was about to expose her a few years ago for this, there was a covert death threat, and it was in terms of me. So this scene is extremely, extremely small. Okay, like no matter what, like you see all these kids that are dressed up like this and that. No, when it comes to like the club scene and stuff, it's always been that way. Even in terms of, well, see, I'm off the West Coast. Okay, so um, it's like you know them on a personal level, and in terms of me, it's kind of like that. So it's like you know who these people are and what they are and what's going on. And I could tell you with certainty the cattiness was always there. So it did start with the English side, and it really was about the genetics and what was happening, and that was what the cure was about. So then you have these others that were more occult related that came in, and it was like Christian Death and stuff like that. And I don't think necessarily that Roger was necessarily bad. I do know that he was murdered, and you heard it here first. I'm the only one that has the balls to say it for what it is. So when this person, like, so Angela Benedict, yeah, it was a covert death threat against my life, and she scrubbed the internet. And so I would sit in the little audience when she'd do her little live chats, and so she would be alerted to my presence because, like I said, I've been hacked. I'm under 24-hour drone UAP. They don't call. I've been filming them for years. Surveillance, the stationary, and then the mobile ones. China, I believe, ties into these ones, and it's Planeteer because it's interplanetary that ties into it. I guess these ones that I think the cops are involved with. It's all about this, and it is a file system and firewalls to the like because I'm the firewall reserve. It all relates. BCI, brain chip implants, biometrics. This is all what's happening, and this is what the coronavirus was. And so, moving back to this person, she would be alerted to my presence, and she would do these super chats, which is a big live where you can get money. And she scrubbed her channel of all these videos that were like that would come after us goy, the goyim, as it's in the Talmud. And the super chats, when this guy would come in, she'd be alerted to come in. Like, I watched all this happen, and she'd cream her fucking panties. This guy was dropping 50, 100, I think one might have been $300. He would just keep dropping it. I think at one point it was $300 or $500 in one chat, and so she would just scrub it. She scrubbed them, scrubbed the ones against me, and then the ones that are coming after others for this was like racist narrative. The shit's blowing up in her face. I have a feeling. So, I know it is. This is, I mean, once Trump came in on this shit, like she's trying to come after bands that are, I guess, like on Trump's side or something like that. And it's like she really is like a useful tool, useful idiot tool. Because it's like, man, you just really don't know. Like these people, this shit is turning. And if this turns, like these, I don't envy them. I'll just put it that way. I don't envy them, not at all. And I'll tell you why. It's because both sides, like, yeah, yeah, like once they're done with you, the tool, they will murder you. Because you're compromised. Like you and these people, they're gonna sing like a canary when confronted with what this is. Um because this guy, she would have him come on to his super chats at one point, and he was kind of off the camera. I gotta look at him. He's Jew. He's a very obvious Jew. Israel, Mossad type shit. It's in with the music industry. These are all facts. They're all facts. I'm sure somebody might have it recorded somewhere. I have a lot of people watching me, like I said, and so any death threat against me, I can tell you right now, I have the Fortune 500 on my ass watching me. So anything that happens to me will come back to you in spades. I'm worth more money than all you motherfuckers put together. It's just a fact. Yep. That's why I'm under heavy, heavy surveillance, like I said, and I'm being chased and followed. I have evidence of the Mossad that live around me. I have no doubt in my mind that that fucking little agent of hers is most likely living around me because they're obsessed. They're literally obsessed. And, yeah, it's a pretty big nightmare. Um, I also noticed too, when I was saying before, she was pushing the vaccine narrative there for a while before, right as they were rolling out. She was talking about how her husband, funny enough, I think his name is Stuart and he's English. It's the Hive. I tie into the Stuart clan, the Royal Stuart clan of Scotland. Mine's the surname. Like I said, I'm a descendant of Mary Queen of Scots, one of many things. But anyway, and this all ties into it. Myself and these men in the music industry, the ones that like a handful of us here, we are literally in our own little section there, I guess, kinetically, and they've altered our genetics. And this is where your transhumanism agenda has come in. It's all been dropped by Epstein. And so anybody that's willing to dig and look, you can. Like I'm on Twitter, so I follow the right people. And at the end of the day, it all ties in with the Israel, right? And Bill Gates and all that type of stuff. Supposedly Netanyahu's down. So yeah, these little shills, like they're at the bottom, they're little bottom feeders, and their numbers about up. And I'm not gonna let this slide, not at all. I'm just not. For doing this to me and others, it's wrong. My son is also being targeted. And it's like I said, because they're tools, they don't even understand the depth or magnitude of what this is. Like they think that they want their little communist. Okay, well, you better look up the pirates. I mean, I think this person said she's like Filipino in her bloodline. I mean, go figure. And it's like, yeah, who or something to that extent. It's like, yep, that's all crusade shit. Who are the pirates? Jews. They raped and pillaged your fucking family members up in history. That's what the fuck this is. Yep. And then ask yourselves the um why the Great Schism happened. Why? Where's the holy site? In Jerusalem. What's on top of the holy site? Orthodox Christian Church is on it. That's because it's the oldest form of Christianity. Now there's stuff that's been left out. And I mean, now it's just coming out about the Ethiopian Bible. It's got so many more books. Yes, there's books missing. The whole and the Dead Sea Scrolls is part of that. It's all about a challenge to the Catholic Church. It is that, and the Catholic Church runs all churches via the Masonry. I'm in their eugenics program, and so they do this kinetically. They enter your genetics in a computer system. And so, from my understanding, my genetics have been timed out with another person that happens to be in the music industry. And God, this shit is so long winded, but they had taken myself and others into the stage stolen ovaries. And so, I have Liz Crokin that has followed me since last year. That was a big accomplishment for me because I'd said there's something else at play that's going on. I know this. And the way things are playing, basically, I said in so many words, the way things are playing out are not what they seem. She'd actually liked my comment and then she followed me right after that because, like, she pretty much hinted at that. She knows a lot of shit. She's the one that's behind Pizzagate exposure. So then they recently have this Angela Benedict character literally you can't make this up, okay? They have her eating pizza, okay? Like I said, now remember the masonry's behind all this. So, Comet Pizza, okay? I think it's called Pizza Comet. Comet Pizza. It's like, yeah, like you can't make this up. It's like they're using her like a tool. And I'm like, I don't, is she one of them too? Or she's just dumb? I'm thinking she's probably more than likely just a little touched and money's money. It's like in this day and age, who would push that narrative? I don't care who you are or what money's there. Like, and when this person was pushing the said vaccines, I'm wondering if she in fact is vaccinated. I mean, because that's the next step in the coronavirus, right? Because it's like you can't make this shut up with these people. It's like, why would you push this narrative? And she got real shut up about it. I think she scrubbed that shit too. My son did more research. I don't have it in me. I don't care. Like I said, because at the end of the day, if I ever receive assistance for this person's gonna go down with the rest of them. I'm not gonna let it slide. I'm just not. Just not. Like they need to be investigated for what they are. Now, my son also mentioned another a girl, woman. I say girl because she's quite a bit younger than me. Toxic Tears. I don't have any beef with her. I don't know anything about her really. I don't follow her because she is quite a bit younger than me. I think she has children now, and it's like like she may be one of those. I'm sure she is one of those that like peddles the wares and stuff like that. Um, that's fine. I mean, if that helps you get money and you're getting free clothes and all that shit, who am I to say? I don't, that's not my problem. Now, am I going to push some narrative? No, you'd never get me to do that. But that's the thing, though. They compromise these people. So with Angela, I remember her speaking about her dog, and her dog was like, it was one of the ferocious breeds. In California, they don't allow them to have. I used to be a leasing associate, an apartment leasing. So I was like in apartment management and there was like a breed list. I think it's kind of across the board, really, like wherever you go with apartments. And there's certain breeds they won't accept. Well, somehow I guess she got into whatever apartment she was in or whatever. And she had said somebody kept walking by like the front of her house. She had the screen door or something. It sounded like her dog pummeled through it. And then all of a sudden the story just kind of fell short. And I can't help but wonder if that was the setup because it is about subversion, coercion, and entrapment. So she wanted to get out of whatever like legal legalities behind that. Masonry comes in and offers her, like, yep, do this, and then we'll give you, we'll help you out with your little YouTube channel. They do this. I mean, my ex was compromised and, he was sent in too, but that's just another story, like I said. So, like I said, my entire life was manufactured. It is very much like you hear these musicians in the music industry in that sense. It's set up, it's manufactured um, on a very hyper focused level. It's all about conditioning. And so it's like I said, the monarch butterfly, it circles back in migration to the beginning. You go back to the past. It's designed to do that. So you roll back in the past. And so in MK Ultra in general, it's called recall, total recall. Well, you know how he goes back to Mars and Elon talks about Mars. That's all about government. It's DUMBs, underground military bases. They're named after planets. They're algorithms. quantum algorithms. And so anyway, it's about recalling your past, and he realized he's an actual CIA agent is what's happening. He's being used like a tool. So my father was essentially playing a role like that, I believe. He was playing in with this system. They had him plugged into all systems neurokinetically. Now, do I believe he was cognizant of this? No, not completely cognizant. I think he was catching wind that something was up, though. We used to have helicopters that would continuously circle over our house and do things to him. Like I said, he was a super soldier, and they did things to trigger him. So, they have censored me, so you won't hear this. See how you don't hear that? They've censored me. I'm not allowed to sound because I'm supposed to be singing. Okay. So when I was ringing my little teddy bear at the last video I uploaded, I took him off on purpose. Everything I do has deliverance behind it, but so you didn't hear the little bell. So my bear can't hear my bell. Okay. So stupid. Okay. Okay. So it just proves my point. So when you're a MK Ultra victim, there's a series of bells that you're gonna hear. And so you had like what Jade the Scorpion or something with Woody Allen that directed or wrote that. I mean, he's part of it. And it shows basically it's like my character or characters in it, and she picks up the phone and she becomes something different. I think it's like Helen Hunt, right? And then you had another actress, right? So it's basically showing you two sides of a woman. It's like it's the sinner saint type thing. You have the all together put together woman that and then you have the siren. That's the Lilith and Mary Virgin horror thing that they have women playing. So when they try to say that women are liberated, it's a big lie, a big fat lie. There's nothing liberating about filing us into the tax system and playing a whore. Okay, there's none. um, so let me see if there's anything I missed. Like I said, I have to write things down as I've said before. The other thing too is that I remember Angela mentioning that her mother would parade her around on a stage when she was a kid. Now, whether in fact that's true, I don't know. It sounded like it might have been, and I don't doubt it because it is the music industry and they do this to you. But see, they have their own level of reckoning to do with what this is, and it's going to get to that point, and they're going to throw people under the bus. Her own, even her own husband. I mean, this is how shady and like because these people are cowards. I don't doubt they have a lot of rifts in that marriage anyway, because what woman would carry on about this like this? She's married to what I assume to be a white man. He's English and his name is Stuart. Okay. Like, you can't make this shit up again. It's like, wow, like you're essentially saying you hate him. Why would any man want to have children with somebody like that? I mean, I'm not being an asshole. I mean, she was trying to have kids. It's like, yeah, vaccinated all hell. And you're not a nice person. And then she bragged about going and like my son had a because I was talking to him about it because I remember all this stuff. She talked about going clubbing, bragging, and I guess it's still there about going night clubbing after father OD'd. Like, I don't like who does that? Like, who does that? All right. Like, my father had things going on, and this is what's funny about it. I figure her father is the goy side of who she is. You know, the white man. This is what they're doing to them. She's got her own reckoning to do. Like I said, this is not fun. This is not cute. I don't laugh at any of this. Um, Most likely had a lot of issues in the marriage because this is what this boils down to. It really is like this. They're tearing apart marriages on purpose and they're using frequency to do it. Okay. Like when you see it, see, I'm an empath. Like it's an actual program. I'm empath studies, they refer to it as. It's well beyond that. Because I have a vast understanding of what they're doing and how they're attacking people. And these yeah, what they're doing to our men and women, but like how they attack the men is through the women. And so, like, they strip the women down, make them naked. It's all the Masonic Handbook, Falls of Talmud, and all that. They make these people like this. It's the Lilith Baphomet character. And, and that just ties into, I think she has an altar in her house. I'm like, why do you have that? What is that? I put this here. It's to prove a point. My cross to prove a point. Like, but I'm Christian, so and that's why they're after me. I mean, Trump had said it himself, like they're coming after Christians. Well, exhibit A, bitch. I am that. And it has to do with bloodlines. So this Rothschild is my slave owner. Slave owner. It's been declared as such, and so um, these are Jew. They are not supposed to be there. They murdered King George. I forget what number, England, and that's when they I believe took it over. And if you look at him, he's got Romanov background there. He very, very much like Nicholas Romanov of the Royal Martyrs, where it was 8 million or was it 8 billion? Um, World War I. See, and that's where these tools like this person here that doesn't know. But then again, like I said, she's not all white. She don't like white, especially white women. I've I That's all I've had sent in by this program. I am a victim of racist gang violence. So that's the truth. It was the cholas, the tolitas. They came after me. They were sent in. It was by the system. So if you know anything about Angie Carter, I suggest you look her up. She ties into P. Diddy, like I said. How she describes the Riverside school system, and she's a bit younger than me. It didn't change. It was the same for me when I went. It's like that. The teachers are all Masons and stuff like that. And they are pedophiles. They were all into my sex trafficking because this is what this all involves. Um, it's all subversion. Um, and it's I also noticed too on another thing. I don't know. It just doesn't matter really. Now, in terms of me and my programming, I go into more about my Monarch programming. They talk about because it's all Operation Paperclip, but they try to say Hitler was behind that. No, that's not what happened. I don't believe that at all. He would not volunteer to have me in this position where I am under surveillance. He did not murder anybody. If you don't believe me, you can go and look up David Irving because he's being persecuted for this for years. He's been thrown into prison for it. There is no evidence to support any of it. Hitler didn't know what to do with these people because they were sent in on purpose to do just like they're doing to us now. They're all Mossad. They were beating up Germans. I think it was in Amsterdam. The Bolsheviks killed millions and millions of people. And if you think it's just the elite, no. It's a Talmud. They follow all of it. It's a crime syndicate rooted in child sex trafficking of all of us, especially the Goy. So if you're black and you happen to make it here and you're in the goth scene, I've seen some of those. Okay, well, I'm here to tell you right now, they're going to tell you all kinds of things against us, Whitey. And it's like, nope, that's not what happened. That's not true. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're still on the fucking plantation if you haven't figured it out. And I'm right there with you. I'm actually leading the way. That's what the reserve note is all about. I was born into this. I'm a sex slave. Um, all right. Yep. I'm gonna go. Like I said, my whole thing, my system, what I am, who I am, it really does involve these people being shills. They're compensated, they're compromised, and they really do tie into the music industry. Um, I wouldn't doubt that some of them have a proverbial gun literally sat right at their head because once this shit hits the fan with them, they're gonna throw anyone and everyone under the bus. I mean, this isn't my first rodeo with this. I've experienced this type of shit my whole life. It's like that. That's what's going on because it all roads lead to Epstein, and it has to do with Epstein Island and the ranch. They were literal deep underground military bases that are underground, and they're laboratories, and they have our genetics. Uh huh. Okay, well, this thing is long enough, and so everything I do in closing is in code. I am playing at a role. So essentially, what this is that I'm being used as a monitor or a gauge in terms of this quantum system that we're all plugged into. So they have me playing all the Marys in the game and the Lilith character and all that. The Lilith character is only in terms of something disgusting and it has nothing to do with you people as much as you try to make it out to be. Nothing. It really is rooted in what's supposed to be that sick as this shit is. And that just proves, this is like, so when you see these and they say, well, that's evil. Well, no, this is actually a representation of the saints. You say, oh, that's worshiping saints. No, it's not. These people lie to you about shit. There are good saints of the Orthodoxy and it carried over into the Catholic Church. That doesn't mean they're the same because Orthodoxy, like but they don't claim to be they're not anything like that. Not at all. But there were good people. I do believe that in there. I mean, my family, my father's family, what's left is my aunt. They were trying to murder her, I'm pretty sure. And she's Catholic. So, not all Catholics are bad. And the saints, no, they're martyrs. They don't want you to remember who the martyrs are. There is nothing wrong with recognizing that somebody fucking died for your sins in the way that Jesus did, because that's the example they don't want you to uphold. That there is somebody that has dignity, that will literally stand up for what they believe in and can't be compromised in their faith. And they held themselves accountable in their faith. That being said, Mother Teresa, oh yeah, she's all into the child sex trafficking. A lot of them are. So on that note, I'm going to leave this up to you to figure out. All right? So yeah, all right. Peace out, motherfuckers.